Do we have the word for the day?
No.
I'll come up
Good
with some.
morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to another exciting meeting at Toastmasters for Hyderabad Entrepreneurs 2.0. 2.0 comes with lot of changes and always some advantages. That's what you're going to see in the meeting today. They just say that if wishes were horses, the beggars would ride, right? That's what becomes with your goal. If your goals are not smart enough, if your goals are just statements, if your goals are just wishes, you are ready to downfall. It happens in every area, whether you are a professional, a working professional, working for an organization, or a personal area, or maybe an entrepreneur, right? We'll learn more about it. But right now, let me introduce the role players for today. Our timer for today is Toastmaster Ashwin, who will help us with timer cards to be in discipline to start and end in time. Our grammarian for today is Toastmaster Mary. Mary, do you have a word for the day?
The word for today is extraordinary. Can someone pronounce this for me?
Extraordinary or extraordinary.
That's American. Anyone else? Gopal, Mr. Gopal, Toastmaster Gopal Krishnan? Could you pronounce this?
Can you again spell it out? Please spell E-X-A-R.
E-X-T-R-A-O-R-D-I.
O again E-X.
T-R-A-O-R-D-I-N-A-R-Y, as in ordinary.
Extraordinary.
No, E-X-T-R-A.
Extraordinary.
Extraordinary.
Right.
Extraordinary. That
Yes.
is
Most of us pronounce this as extraordinary. The correct pronunciation is extraordinary.
Or you could run them together.
Extraordinary.
It is the A is silent. It's extraordinary. Whether it's British or whether it's American accent, the A is silent. That's why I use this word. When
you say tomato, I say tomato. It's okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
But then
Extraordinary.
yeah, but again, tomato and tomato are accepted as different pronunciation. Extraordinary is extraordinary, whether Brit or American. It's okay. This is for you to know the correct pronunciation. That would be the word of the day, extraordinary.
Extraordinary.
Extraordinary. I love
Extraordinary.
extraordinary. That is what each and every person who has taken a step towards their learning by joining the meeting as a guest, as a role player, or as a Toastmaster. Toastmasters are extraordinary, right, Mary? Thank you very much. And then Gopal is the counter for today, and table topic master for today, who is going to help us in part of the meeting. Any Toastmaster meeting is divided into 3 parts, which is our prepared speeches, where people come prepared. This section helps you to prepare for those moments where you need to go prepared. Maybe a presentation that you are giving in your office, maybe some story that you are narrating to your children, maybe a business story that you are preparing as a business analyst, breaking down those requirements into stories. Or maybe any other stages or situation where you're going to prepare. The second part is your critical moments, where you do your table topics. You're asked a question on the spot. This prepares you for those moments where life pushes you on the spot. Maybe your spouse asks a question on the spot. Maybe your boss asks something. Remember, those 1 to 2 minutes makes a lot of difference in life, the way that you answer, including your job interviews, where your answer matters a lot. This table topic section is what is going to prepare you for that. The third section is speech evaluations. Your feedback matters a lot. Receiving and also giving feedback is something that you have to learn as a leader, as an individual contributor, or as an entrepreneur. They're going to learn. We have a fourth section, which is unique for this club, is where you give an entrepreneur pitch, whether it is an investment or it can be an elevator pitch. But today seems to be our pitch speaker is not attend. If you are not there, then we'll extend our table topics and have some fun. With that note, let's start having fun with our prepared speeches. But before that, let's talk about the topic of the day, which is the start of mistakes. Now, anybody here who want to talk about the top startup mistakes, any one thing that they can think of at this moment?
Not knowing the information.
Thank you.
Choosing
Anybody
the,
else?
choosing the wrong partner.
True. These do come up in the information, but you know what's the top one is building something that nobody wants. Building something that nobody wants. This reminds me of seeing this show, the Shark Tanks in India, which is on air. Where a person came with the lids for the glasses, where people just attach it to the glasses when they visit restaurants. So the sharks went and asked, instead of those lids buying at the premium price, why not people just carry their glasses instead? There was something. So there's so many ideas across the apps that people don't use, the items that they don't. And this causes, this is 36% of the market of startups today. And this is a huge loss, right? That's the point. Now, when it comes to Saishi has something right? I saw her hand raised. Saishi, you wanted to contribute something to this question? Saishi, I saw your hand raising. No problem. And coming to second part is when you choose your partners poorly, or your hiring is poor, whether it is your undermining or just over hiring. I've seen many startups which just hide just on the spree, hiring people as a requirement comes, or rather they don't think there's a requirement. One of the auction houses that I was part of, my partners didn't think we needed staff to help us with. And guess what? We have to do everything. And at a stage, I could not hold it long back, and I quit as a director of the auction house. And there was other company that have been part of startup where initial starting days of my career. I've seen where they hide a lot, but then because of the poor skills of hiring and also poor management of the project that they're coming up, they couldn't hold it, and they had to let go of people, and slowly the company had to come to a closer. So you need to be very careful both in choosing the item, whether it is the popular, whether it is in demand, or people do need it. For example, the innovative idea that I saw when we were traveling in the train a couple of days back, when we were on a vacation, we were able to order food on train by choosing this app from the restaurant of our choice, which was not the case earlier in Indian Railways. The innovation that they brought, they were able to implement it, and now it is widely used across India. Probably there are so many ideas across different nations that we can discuss about. But right now, it's time to deep dive into our meeting. We have two prepared speeches, two wonderful Toastmasters. Toastmaster Vamsi Allah, who is joining today from the East Coast of United States, who is going to give a speech on L1P2 first speech. His speech evaluator is Toastmaster Manoj. Manoj, can you please give speech objectives for Vamshi?
Sure. Thank you, Raghu. So Toastmaster Vamsi is attempting his level 1 project 2, and this project consists of 2 speeches, evaluation and feedback. He will give the speech 1, take the feedback of that speech and attend and rephrase or redo his speech in the speech 2. So that's his prime motive of the project. So he's attempting the first project today. So the time limit of the speech will be 5 to 7 minutes to the timer. So over to you, Raghu.
Thank you very much, Manoj. I see if Vikram is in. Vikram is going to be the R counter for today. Thanks for joining, Vikram. Now, our dear friend Vamshi has a very good title, Extraordinary. I'll correct myself. Thanks, Mary. Every time you smile, that shows that I'm pronouncing the word of the day wrong. Now, Vamshi Allah, be cheerful. Be cheerful, Vamshi Allah.
Yeah, thank you, Raghu. Yeah. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. This is Vamshi. My speech title is Be Cheerful. At times, I think what is most important in life? To achieve the goal or to live the journey? My mind is still confused about this topic, but I would say that dream is important too. They give you the sense of satisfaction. But I understood that dream and journey both are important. But the end result of the journey is unknown. The dream might or may not come true. This making most of our journey is more important. Cherish every moment. Remember the time when you used to play the cricket at all times when you are just a child. The way you cherish your victories. A sense of accomplishment was it speaks even after winning a running race to the end of the street. You all would be so delighted when you saw your favorite dishes to present to us. The charm of going to funny place with family to seem to like victory. Be it watching the Undertaker put down Triple H or see India win a match, or to get a bit more personal, or to get the remote from your siblings, it all became an occasion. Imagine your biggest goal in your life. It may be getting a house, a Lamborghini, getting married to the loved ones, or getting like resolve the fight between your loved ones, getting the admission into the dreamed university, or even becoming a head in the multi-billion company. I think the most noticeable or obvious thing about me is that I'm bit of introvert. I mean, I always the wallflower and happily oblivious and cheerful. But that does not mean I don't like being around people. I actually love it. I think on deep conversations, this always feels good to make a strong conversation with someone. I would like to think of myself as a good listener and a good conversationalist. I find very cheerful moments in my life, but these are the moments that bring a smile to my face when I remember them. I can say that these are the some moments in my life. I was studying the class 10th. At that time, it was announced in our school that there is a district level competition of quiz and poster presentations. It will involve the several schools participation. The notices regarding the participation of students in the competition were distributed in every class. I was very excited to take part in the presentation. I enrolled to my name of the participation. You would be looking at your past, your efforts to make it this far. You are just praying and wishing for the best to happen. At the end of the day here, you may leave the dream all that you had. You can see the mist of uncertainty gather around you, a sense of feel and the faith both at the same time. Look at the people who you want around when you are accomplished that dream. Have a close glance at your mother's satisfied smile, at your father's proud face, and at your siblings and friends who are waiting to hug you happiness. Happiness and has filled the hot room. Be cheerful and happy. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So that is Vamshi's speech. So I'll give everyone 30 seconds to give feedback on his speech in private chat. Well, please take 30 seconds to give feedback to Vamshi in private chat. Thank you.
Thirty seconds, Raghu.
Thank you, Ashwin, for being alert on time. Now, this lady who's joining from West Coast, California, is our next speaker. She is the energy bomb. DTM Cynthia is the next speaker. And then we have a match from India. That is DTM Padma Kumar, who is going to evaluate. DTM Distinguished Toastmaster Padma Kumar, can you please give speech objectives for Distinguished Toastmaster Cynthia?
DTM Cynthia is attempting her level 3 project on Inspire Your Audience. The title of the speech is Once Upon a True Love Story. The time allotted is 5 to 7 minutes. All the very best, DTM Cynthia. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
DTM Cynthia, Once Upon a True Love Story. Once Upon a True Love Story, Distinguished Toastmaster Cynthia Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Come with me down the streets of Fisherman's Wharf in San Francisco. We're walking down the streets. We see the boats. We see the sea lions. We see a pizza restaurant, my favorite, Uno's Pizzeria. We walk hand in hand, my boyfriend, Milo, and I walk through the door, and we smell the beautiful pizza and the sourdough bread baking in the background. And we find our table. We sit down and we order our food. Then I see him coming across the room to our table. It's Dean. Hi, Cynthia. Gives me away. My heart is beating so fast and my smile is so big that I give away that I am falling in love with Dean. His friends come over, he has to leave. And he says, I'll see you at school. Bye. Milo is sitting across from me. Who was that? He knew he was history. I did break up with him in 2 weeks. I started school and I started dating Dean. The rest was absolutely history. And we always were like honeymooners together. In fact, when we went to Japan, we were sitting at a teppanyaki table and our chef was chopping away and serving us up. And we snuck under the table and held hands. We thought we were being sly, but we were not. Our chef noticed and he loved it. He thought it was so sweet because you don't see public displays of affection in Japan normally with adults. So he made our rice into a heart and he served us from there. He was so happy and he actually tried to get us to hold hands again, but we were too embarrassed. So then in June 1995, we boarded a boat to Alaska and we got married. We are so smiling and happy. And our photographer was a wildlife photographer. He took some great shots of us with Alaska in the background, all the mountains. And I was a Federal Reserve Bank examiner and I had a business trip. And on Monday I had to leave and I was rushing around getting ready and my super shuttle guy was early. And Dean had gone into the bathroom, the door was closed and I yelled through the bathroom door, I love you, honey. I'll see you on Thursday night. Okay, I'll see you then. Bye-bye. And I let my super shuttles guy steal my kiss. I didn't get to give Dean a big hug and a kiss because that was our tradition. I went down to Southern California flying on the airplane and I examined the banks and then I called Dean because I was coming home and he was going to pick me up at the airport. It didn't sound right. He didn't answer the phone. And so I called his mother and I said, have you seen Dean? And she said, no, he hasn't called me today. So I said, well, I would really appreciate it if you and Jerry, her husband, would come and meet me at my house. And so they drove down and I came in the taxi and I pulled up 20 minutes after they did. I opened the door and flew open the door to the lobby. And there were my in-laws, and I gave my father-in-law a big hug. And while I gave him a hug, I heard him say, he's gone. Dean is dead. Wow. Shocked, terrified. I screamed like a banshee. And I couldn't believe that my life had changed so suddenly. And before he died, about a month before he died, he said to me, you can be so much more. I hold you back. And he wouldn't hear my argument. I said, no, you don't hold me back. But he wouldn't let me take no for an answer. See, I was afraid of everything. I had And Dean was right. He was right, because after he died, I stepped up, I stepped out. I needed courage. I prayed for courage, and I got it. And I became an international speech coach and a global visibility influencer, influencing the world with my 50,000 followers in 140 plus countries. I changed. And I felt Dean's pride in me. And I kept hearing him say, that's my woman. That's my wife. And I thought, wow, I can do this for Dean. When my knees were knocking, my lips were quivering, I thought, I can do it for Dean. I can show him that I can do this. And he always thought that same way of everyone. He wanted everyone to enjoy life and to live life to their fullest. And so I did it for Dean. And encourage you, when you are discouraged and afraid, when your knees are knocking and your lips are quivering, I pray that you speak out and be more than you think you are. You can do it for Dean too. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, distinguished Toastmasters. And yep, such a wonderful speech. I request everyone to take 30 seconds to give feedback to Cynthia's speech in private chat. Vinay, you raise your hand. You have to say something.
Yeah. So, Joe, yeah, that's what I wanted to say. When you really, really want something, right, you have a deep desire to achieve something. You feel like entire universe is conspiring you to achieve that. So that is what the moral of the story what she was talking about. If you really want to get it.
Thank you, Vinay. You're helping the evaluators in summarizing the speech in one line. Thank you very much for those kind words.
Thank you.
30 seconds, Toastmaster Raghu.
Thank you very much, sir. Now let us look into other part, the mistakes, the start of mistakes. The top three, the top three is lack of focus. When the entrepreneurs loses the focus of why and how he or she has started on the start of thing. When they don't go into the same line of focus, they deviate from what is expected and what has to be done. They don't have the plan ready. Another part is fail to execute, whether it is in sales, whether it is in market. You have a plan, that's good. But then unless you're executing it properly, or unless you're implementing strategy properly, you're doomed out. The main crux of any entrepreneurship is how you are doing your marketing and then your sales. The fifth most is if you don't respect your customer, but you're just respecting your investors. That is when you're doomed out. As they keep saying, customer is the king. Like in Toastmasters, we value the member most. We give them the respect or anything that they need. Unless you do that, you're not going to withstand even in a Toastmaster club. So think of in an entrepreneurship. You need to value the customers first. And then same time, you need to give value to investors, of course, but then you should not imbalance any of that. That is the major startup mistake. While we keep discussing on startup mistake, it's trying to do some mistakes, right? As they keep, the song goes in Bollywood, Galti Karna Hai. You need to do mistakes. And that is the opportunity to do through our table topics, impromptu speech, where we ought to do mistakes and we ought to learn from our mistakes. Let me invite this gentleman who is lovely, bubbly, and always smiling, Toastmaster Gopal Krishnan, who is going to take us through the table topic section, the impromptu speech. I will not speak. I give him the opportunity to take us through the table topic section. Gopal, the stage is yours.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Toastmaster over there. Before I come to the topic master, I need one help from you. I'm logging from my mobile. So if somebody raised the hand, please let me know. I won't be able to say.
Sure,
right?
sure. I'll do that.
Okay. So now it's time for this extraordinary session as introduced by DTM Raghu. So good morning, good evening, good night, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Welcome to table topic session. Table topic session is the best way to practice thinking and speaking on our feet. Or in other words, the impromptu speaking. We never know when we may be asked a tough question. As an entrepreneur, when we are asked a tough question, either by a client or a shareholder or anyone, even by a person whom we have called for the interview, he may also ask a tough question, though you may be his employer later on. It is to our benefit to know how to properly answer the question, or at least look like we are in control of the situation. Even if we do not know the proper exact answer, the more we practice this, the better we become. This session also provides a speaking opportunity for the members who have not taken up any roles. And I will also encourage the guests to please nominate yourself, come forward and practice the session. Each speaker is required to speak for 1 to 2 minutes. Participants are disqualified at 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Each speaker should try to use the word of the day, which is extraordinary. A is silent, extraordinary. Okay. So may I have volunteers, please? If somebody has raised the hand, I won't be able to see.
Elias.
Yeah, yes. Thank you. So
Can you hear
I
me?
have 7. Yeah. So I have 7 topics from 1 to 7. Can you choose one number? 1 to 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. Okay. Then your topic is what prepares you better for entrepreneurship, a job or a business school? Is it clear or I should repeat it? What prepares you better for entrepreneurship, a job or a business school?
Okay. Am I audible and visible before I start?
Yeah.
Give me the answer.
There's a lag in your video, but you can
Audible?
go. Elias,
Okay, I will start.
there's a lag in your video.
Okay. Am I audible and visible? Still lagging?
You are audible and visible,
Can you
but
hear
there's a
me?
lag.
Oh, okay. Can I go on now?
Go ahead.
Okay, I go. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters, what do you think about this question? Job or business school to prepare for your entrepreneur? Well, we go both ways because we take some experience of being an employee, and also you can go to a business school after our office, after working hour. And if you can balance this, you will get the practical from the job and you will get the theory from the business school. It is about how you can mix them up, match them up, and to become an extraordinary entrepreneur. And to make it better, if you have a great boss, he is also a successful entrepreneur. He can help you to, to mentor you, to guide you what to do and what not to do. In business school, we will have a lecturer or we have business mentor that will also show you the way, that they will give you certain steps to level up your business. So if I should choose both of these, it depends on my current situation. For now, I need the money. So I need to go into a work. I work as an employee. And I should admit that it is not easy because we have this working hours that really make us have no freedom of time or freedom of other things that you want to do to follow your passion. But if you love what you do and you do what you love, it will make you better preparation for your entrepreneurship journey. Back to you, DTM.
Thank you. And I totally agree with you. That is a situational one. Actually, business school gives you a lot of insight, which you actually practice in on field, and then you draw your own conclusion. You learn many things on hand on your job, and also you learn many things in your business school. So thank you. Thanks for your takeaway. Now, who is second? Lot of people have raised their hand, so I will try to give next option to guest.
We have Dr. Pramod
Okay.
Rajput as a guest.
Okay, yeah, Dr. Pramod. So, yeah, Dr. Pramod, which number you will select from 1 to 6?
Choice is yours, sir.
No, you. Choice is yours.
Because, okay, you can give me 1 to in between 1 to 3 because 4, 5, and 7 has been selected. So all yours.
Correct. So you want 4?
No, 4 is already been selected. So 1, 2, 3, or 6. Either.
Okay.
I'm not aware
So
about the topic, so that is the reason. I am open about it.
Okay, so you want to go with number 1 or number 2?
Number 1, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay. So nice of you. So an entrepreneur you really admire. An entrepreneur you really admire.
Okay, this is a topic, right?
Right.
Okay, so see, as an entrepreneur, the admiration is a very, very important thing because whatever the people they are doing and the team which is doing with you, if you start encouraging them, if you start admiring them, it is going to inspire them, and the inspiration which is coming in their mind and heart, it is going to help to build a great entrepreneurship, because it is always said that it is either half glass empty or a half glass filled. So one as an entrepreneur must see the half glass filled, because there is always an opportunity to build the thing which is very, very important. And if as an entrepreneur, if you have a wonderful vision, long vision, mission is there, then you can start admiring your smallest thing which the people are doing in your organization, because that gives a sense of belongingness, that gives you a sense of making the things happen, and that also gives you an insight that yet what the thing is supposed to be done. And at the same time, the team of yours as an entrepreneur will start giving lot of the new beautiful ideas, because when you start admiring the people, they will always come with the happiness, they will come with the smile, they will come with something new, because they feel that it is their organization where they can build the things which can make the difference. And that's why you or one person as an entrepreneur will be able to build the complete conglomerate which is basically required. So admiration is a very, very important part and parcel of the life, which one should do it, one should adopt it, one should ensure it, and one should practice it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Pramod. I totally agree. We need admiration, we need inspiration, we draw inspiration from other people. If you ask me, I get inspired by Dr. Narayan Murthy, not because he has built up the Infosys. His contribution to the Indian business is that Infosys was the first company who has decided to come up with the quarterly results. So it has actually changed the entire way the Indian companies are declaring the results. So thank you, thanks. Then who is third one? Let me see. A lot of people have raised their. So guest Alpana, are you ready?
Sure.
So which number you will select between 2 to 6, 2, 3, 5, and 6?
Number 4.
Okay. So do you think entrepreneurs are born or made? What's your take? Do you think entrepreneurs are born or made?
Let's see. I feel that there is a drive that people who are entrepreneurs tend to have. So there's something deep inside you which makes you want to be an entrepreneur, because being an entrepreneur is not an easy journey. It's a journey of taking risks, of highs and lows, of failure, success, all sorts of different things. I think it's an extraordinary journey. And I've seen my father, who was my role model. My father is in India, where he quit his safe job, which was a corporate job, to start his own entrepreneurial business. And he did it when he had a family with 3 children and took a huge risk to do it. So I feel that he did it because there was something inside him which pushed him to want to go on that path. And I feel it was the same for me, because through my own journey of working for corporate America, since I've been in America, I found that there was a calling for me to do something on my own. And maybe because I didn't want to work for anybody, I wanted to work for myself. So I can't say it was an easy journey, but it was something I feel I was meant to do. So I do feel that there's a certain part of you where you are born to be an entrepreneur, and that's why you choose that path of entrepreneurship. So thank you so much.
Thank you, guest Alpana. I totally agree with your view that entrepreneur is something you are born with. It's a trait. It requires a lot of risk, as you mentioned about your father's journey. It requires a lot of courage from inside, and then only you become a success. So thanks for sharing your views. Now, who is next? Guest Vinay, are you ready?
Yeah.
Yes, Saishri has a hand up for a while. Can you please go with Saishri and then Vinay?
Okay. Actually, I was not able to see. Okay. So yeah. So which number you will select? 2, 3, 5, 6.
I will go with number 5.
Okay. Toastmaster Saishri. So entrepreneurship is a full-time job. Entrepreneurship is a full-time job. What is your take?
Greeting to all Toastmasters. As the topic is entrepreneurship is a full-time job, I am perfectly 100% agree with this. If you're in a salaried job, your time is fixed, yes, 10 to 5. But when you are opening your own entrepreneurship, there are so many things which you have to do at the back end. Your employees will come, they will go, but after that, many
things are there. Like I recently started my own business. I have taken franchisee. I need to work early in the morning to update my team, to know how to just work on how to go with the flow, how to advertise my company, how to collaborate with the various schools, and how to get the fund. There are so many things which an entrepreneur do. But as others says, what you have only business, you are doing nothing, but they don't know there is a mastermind. That mastermind is working extraordinarily day and night, 24 by 7. And those who have that zeal to work 24/7, they are going to be an entrepreneur, because this is not a time to time, but this is the lifetime and all time job. Over to you, table topic master.
Uh, thank you, Toastmaster Sastri. I fully agree that entrepreneurs is a full-time job. It's always better to be a master of something instead of jack of all the trades. Entrepreneurs is a full-time job. I totally agree with you. Thank you. So next we can move to guest Vinay. So Vinay, we are left.
Toastmaster Gopal, this will be the last topic, just for
okay.
in the interest of time. This is the last topic.
Okay, sure. So Toastmaster Vinay, guest Vinay, we are left with 3 topics: number 2, number 3, number 6. Which you will choose?
Number 2.
Okay, all the best. Jobs versus entrepreneurship. Where would you tell your kids to pitch tent? Jobs versus entrepreneurship. Where would you tell your kids to pitch tent? Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster, and good morning, everyone. Yeah, it's a very debatable jobs versus entrepreneurship. And we all know that we are coming from a middle class family. We need to do a job. That is what we have been taught. You go to a good school, get a good education, and get a job. And eventually we end up doing the job. And what happens, right? You initially coming from a middle class family, you struggle a lot. After a lot of struggle, you get a job. And then you move on the corporate ladder by struggling and all, right? Then most of the times, very few people, right? Like this Pareto rule, what happens, right? 80% of the people, they stuck in the middle management, and only very few people go to the corporate ladder. And then you end up thinking that, okay, where am I? And then you start thinking of something else, right? So this is what I would prefer my kid to took a line of job and gradually the object or goal towards doing something on his own, to pursue on his own passion, right? To do some kind of entrepreneurship. So always my bias is towards entrepreneurship. The sooner the better, but you need some capital, right? So if you are rich enough, if you are privileged to have initial capital through your friends or family and all, you try to pursue entrepreneurship. Or if that is not possible, you took the route of the job and then gradually shift towards entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is not about like they are born or they are right from the beginning they are born. It can be generated, right? Sometimes you need some kind of spark. So it is not about extraordinary people doing extraordinary things. Anyone can do small things extraordinarily so that they can achieve that. Small things, it can form an habit, and then you can do it. Thank you, Toastmaster. So entrepreneurship is what my bias towards. I always prefer my kid or my friends or me myself. I want to go towards that journey.
Yeah, wonderful guest, Vinay. You have concluded it very well. And I totally agree with you when you said that being from a middle class family, I also from a middle class family. So initially we encourage our kids to take up some job, build a corpus, and definitely then go for the entrepreneurship, because there you can fulfill your dream. Thank you for all the participants for your lovely take. And now it's over to you, Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Raghu.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Gopal. Thank you, Elios, Pramod, Alpana, Saistri, and Vinay for participating in table topics. They say, for example, in your college, if you are delaying to propose to someone and you miss the opportunity and the girl or the boy is gone, same way, next time you have table topics, don't miss the chance. Go ahead and attempt the table topic. That's how we learn. That's how we overcome our fear for public speaking, which is known as claustrophobia. It's time for some food. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner, whichever part of the world you're joining from. It's time for evaluation, the feedback that we are going to get from our champions. Our first speaker today was Toastmaster Vamsi Allah, and his speech evaluator is Toastmaster Manoj. Manoj, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Toastmaster Raghu. So as the quote says, nothing to prove, everything to improve. So I want to give my feedback, my evaluation for Mr. Vamsi. Toastmaster Vamsi, firstly, congratulations on completing your first speech of level 1 project 2. So here I come up with some of the positives which I have seen, some of the improvement areas, and then I'll try to summarize on those. So the positives which I have seen is, you open with a question. You open with a question like what you have self-questioned yourself, like what is the best thing, achievement or the journey. So that also sparked me thinking of, okay, what is important. So that's one good thing, one positive thing which I have seen. And you have done your self-introspection of yourself, and you said you're not an introvert. So that made us know more better about you in this speech. And other one is your title, Be Cheerful. So looking at the title itself, it feels like a positive vibe is there. So I felt that Be Cheerful, your title is very positive oriented and good to listen. So that is one other thing. And you have taken a bit of nostalgia. It's like you revive like playing cricket, whichever you said. So I went to my childhood and I thought playing cricket when I was as a kid. And finally, you came up with the takeaway of be with the people who are there with you all the time, and that will give you the chance to be cheerful and cherish every moment. So I liked your takeaway very much. So these are the positives I've seen, and kudos for that. And I have seen a few improvement areas is like when you start a speech, the TMoD, the Toastmaster of the day, will already give your title. You don't have the requirement to repeat your title when you start a speech. And the other thing is when you're speaking on this Zoom specifically, try to align your video in such a way that you are in center of the video, and before you start, you align yourself that so that at least you are visible till that at least below some part below your neck, and you are visible completely. And the third thing is the eye contact. So when we are speaking on the video, generally we tend to see the people on the video, but to have the feel of eye contact one-on-one, you try to look into that web camera hole so that everyone will feel that there is an eye contact with you. So that's one other thing. And the final one is when you are speaking about the achievement or the journey, and suddenly you transitioned into your personal thing of your introvert and how we have played cricket. So I not feel like it's kind of a sudden switch. There is no transition, though I felt like the exact transition is missing. So these are my suggestions for you on the improvement areas. And on the whole, your eye contact, transition, video placement is one thing I want you to improve. And the other one is your opening is good. You have good enthusiasm to speak out yourself, and kudos on that. And all the best for you, Vamsi.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Manoj. Can you have a big round of applause for Manoj, because with this evaluation, he has completed his level 1. And same time, Vamsi, who has taken a long break from his Toastmaster journey. He wanted a kickstart, and then with this speech, he has been courageous enough to start his journey as a Toastmaster. Kudos to both of you. You both are extraordinary.
Thank you.
With this, it's time to move to the next extraordinary couple, which is DTM Cynthia, who is a speaker, and evaluator DTM Padma. Distinguished Toastmaster Padma Kumar, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much. Come with me, said the consummate storyteller Cynthia, as she took our hand and led us, showing us the views of the boats and the pizzeria. helping us to experience the smell of the pizza in her husky voice, which was very appropriate for the love story that she was introducing us to. The highlight in Cynthia's story today was that she used very appropriate vocal variety for each stage of her story. Notice, for example, when she was talking about the naughty holding of hands under the table in that Japanese restaurant, the voice was totally filled with mischief and a certain amount of shyness. That really is the quality when you bring in the emotion to the content and marry the two seamlessly, magic happens. And then there were visual props like the photographs, which helped us to visualize how beautiful she is along with Dean, how handsome and smart Dean is. So it was very, very good strategy to show us visually what exactly she was talking about. In terms of the richness of language, I think it was extraordinary the way in which she had those flourishes of a language. For example, she talked about shocked, terrified, screamed, knees knocking, lips quivering, stepping out, stepping up, 15,000 followers in 100+ countries getting inspired by her influencing skills. And you could see a sense of pride when she said, "That is my woman, that is my wife." The late Dean appreciating the work that she had done. Now, what can you give as suggestions to such a consummate storyteller? But still, it's part of my duty to suggest a few improvements. And so, Cynthia, here goes. First one, the vocal pace variation was phenomenal throughout. However, I noticed one or two missed opportunities as well. For example, when you said, "My heart was beating so fast," there was an opportunity for you to say, "My heart was beating so fast." So by and large, you followed that pattern throughout the rest of the story, but in one or two instances, it was, I think, a missed opportunity. Similarly, the transitioning from the story to the message of the story could have been better by varying either the tone or the pace, or making us clear that now the story is over. Listen now to this inspiring message. Overall, I would say it was an extraordinary love story said with so much of passion. It was totally inspiring. And the message, "Do it for Dean, you can do it for Dean," was something that really stayed with me, and I will remember it. So that then was my valuation. Thank you for entertaining us with such a lovely story, Cynthia. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Extraordinary feedback is what it deserves. DTM Cynthia, I will add one or two lines. I love your speech, but today there was a room of improvement for the lighting in the room. I felt that you can use a little more lighting for us to see you better. And second was the quality of your internet was where we lost you a couple of times. So those two you can add. I'm giving this because you're using this for your speech preparation. With that note, I wish you all the best for your competition. Now it's time to move on to the meeting evaluation. But before that, we should conclude the theme talking about the startup mistakes. The next most mistake that is known is the mismanagement of funds, or not making sure you have enough money. If you don't ensure that you have enough funds by raising funds when necessary, or taking care of funds and not misusing funds, or rather being a spendthrift on different things, you will lose the capital that is required to maintain the startup. The next thing is failing to ask for help when you need. If you don't seek help, you are doomed to fall down. The 10th one, there is no need when you ignore the power of social media. I've seen that many people ignore social media, don't think it doesn't have potential. But if you look at many of the companies, many of the startups, when they've used social media power, whether it is YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram, or Twitter, they were able to gather a lot of potential customers with the kind of advertisement that they can use. And these are some startup mistakes that is listed by Illumination Consulting. And I'm sure these mistakes are some stepping stone for us to learn, to grow in our journey for entrepreneurship. It's time to see how our meeting has gone. So let me invite these evaluators of the meeting. The first evaluator is our grammarian for today, Toastmaster Mary. Can you please enlighten us how things have gone on the usage of language?
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Raghu. I will start my evaluation with, of course, the word of the day, extraordinary. I'm happy to see that almost all of you have used that word, whether correctly or incorrectly. Remember, the A is silent, extraordinary. Some good usage of language, moments in my life that brought a smile to my face, energy bomb, walked intimately, public display of affection, which we shortened an acronym as PDA, screamed like a banshee, lips were quivering, knees were knocking, a lack of focus, the crux of the situation, lovely, bubbly, business school gives insight, a drive that makes an entrepreneur, the highs and lows, husky voice, extraordinary journey, work for myself, where will you pitch the tent? I thought that was very good. I would like to give extra credit to Toastmaster Padma Kumar because his evaluation was good, usage of very good language, crisp, precise, right and straight to the point, right usage of words. You were so good. I had no way of writing down the good ones because everything was nice. So I have to say across the board that your language is good, crisp, precise use of words, which is so important. Now coming to what we can improve, first thing would be pronunciation. I would like to add that pronunciation is very subjective because it depends on which country, which culture you're coming from, the nuances of your own local language plays a huge role when it comes to pronunciation. But the fact that you always need to look at is that the listener must understand what you're saying. If your pronunciation is such that that word is lost or that sentence is lost, then you've lost it as a speaker, or you've lost that speech where you could have actually given a very inspiring or useful message to the listener. So remember, the pronunciation comes in where you have to ensure that your listeners understand exactly what you're saying. I mean, the word itself. For example, here, I think it was cat, but was pronounced as Kate. Because I had to now sit down and think, how does Kate fit into this sentence? Yeah, it must be a cat. I'm still thinking, I think it was a cat. Another one, career. It's not carrier. A carrier is a bag or a luggage. That's a carrier. You carry something in a carrier. But when you're talking about a job, it's career. So what happens here is the listener has to stop for a while and try to figure out what they're trying to say, which means that sentence is lost and the person has lost their train of thought. And we don't want a listener to lose their train of thought while listening to probably a very inspiring speech. Next one for pronunciation, excited is EX. For a moment, I'm sorry, I heard it as excited. I don't know what that was. but I'm sure it wasn't that. It was excited, pronounced as egg-cited. It's not EGG, it's EX. The other one for pronunciation, okay, I think that's about it. I don't want to go too deep into pronunciation. Remember, pronunciation is to ensure that your message goes across correctly to different cultures. Coming to grammar, but I understand. Sorry, the statement was not understood. But when you say the first verb in the present tense, your second verb, when you say the first verb in past tense, the next verb should be in present tense. Example, but I understand, not understood. I know you may not get the context of it, but it's grammar here and syntax. The next one would be delighted when you saw. It's just delighted when you see. That's the one, you see, delighted, past tense. The next verb is present tense. Getting married, this was interesting. Getting married to your loved ones. I'm very sure we only get married to one person. Getting married to your loved ones, O-N-E-S, that's many. So you only get married to your loved one. Strong conversation should be deep conversation. Father's proud face. I think that's a very literal translation from a local language. It should be father's pride. Consummate storyteller. Oh, that's a good sentence. Sorry, it should have gone into the other one. Need to go and do our work. Should be need to go to work. A sense of belongingness. Sense of belonging. Self-question yourself. Okay, should be question yourself. More better. It's more better about you. There is no more and better don't go together. The superlatives or the comparatives don't go together. It's either more or it's better. So it should be more about you. Will do. Align yourself. Align yourself. It should be align. You can align. No need for the yourself. Well, I know these are heavy grammar topics, and I'm just doing my job as a grammarian. How many of us actually go back there and look at our grammar and say, I need to improve my grammar? But at least the least we can do is, if you're speaking in a very international crowd, try your level best to have pronunciation correctly so that the listener can understand what you're trying to say and do not lose their train of thought, and at the same time, a good impression about your speech. Remember, we are here to be professional speakers. A little grammar mistake here and there is fine, but it's always useful to filter and streamline your presentation. It looks good on you. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day, Raghu.
Wow, extraordinary. That was extraordinary. Such an extensive grammar in report. I always said Anne-Marie's report was great, but you surpassed her report and they gave an extraordinary report. Thank you. Looking forward you to join us today. You will be our permanent grammarian if you intend to join again. With that note, it's time to know how we are doing on our time. Ashwin, how can you represent the timer for today?
Absolutely. Thank you, Toastmaster Raghu. And I'll try to give an extraordinary timing report. It's just numbers, so just bear with me. As a timer, I help today's speakers practice expressing a thought within a specific time. So my duty as a timer was to time the prepared speeches, table topic speeches, and evaluators. Now, it's very important that we look at the time that we are given, right? That we stay within the time, right? We don't want to be rambling on too much. So today, Vamsi, your speech was 5 minutes and 48 seconds. And your evaluator, Manoj, your evaluation was 3 minutes and 24 seconds. DTM Cynthia, your speech was 7 minutes and 11 seconds. And Kumar, your evaluation was 4 minutes and 2 seconds. It was a very good evaluation, but just cut it short. It was good. Or maybe make it a two-parter. Not just kidding. For table topics, we have Ilios, 2 minutes, 18 seconds. Dr. Pramod, 1 minute, 47 seconds. Alpana, 1 minute, 51 seconds. Sasri, your time was 1 minute, 33 seconds. Vinay, 1 minute and 46 seconds. Toastmaster Raghu, that is my timing report.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much,
and back to you.
Ashwin. Now it's time to see how you're doing on our quarter. We as a club don't charge the fees. We just charge $5 for each and hours and hours. Let me see how many dollars we are charging today through our friend Vikraman. Vikraman, do you have the report ready?
Good morning, everyone. First of all, I would like to congratulate fellow Toastmasters and guests for the active participation and contribution for the session today. Let me start with Toastmaster Vamsi. 2 hours, 5 plus long passes. Toastmaster Manoj, 5 plus hours. Toastmaster Padma Kumar, nil hours, meaning he is perfect. Toastmaster Cynthia, nil hours. Toastmaster Gopal, 5 plus hours. Toastmaster Elias, no passes and no long passes or no hours. Guest Dr. Pramod, nil. And guest Alpana, also nil. Then guest Sai Sri, 2 hours. Guest Vinay, 2 hours. Toastmaster Aswin, nil. Toastmaster Padma Kumar, nil hours. Toastmaster Mary Thomas, 2 hours. Toastmaster Raghu, no long passes and no hours. So that's from my side.
Thank you very much, Vikraman.
Thank you.
So that is how we grow, with the synergy of learning from each other. I hope you had a great learning from this session of Toastmaster for Hyderabad Entrepreneurship 2.4. I wish you all the best in your growth when you want to learn and grow as an entrepreneur, professional, student, doesn't matter. In every walk of life, you need to learn from your mistakes. Mistakes that ought to happen. We are humans. We get to err. We ought to err, and we learn from our mistakes. Use your mistakes. Use these things that you do as your stepping stones to your success. The failures are certainly stepping stones. If you keep learning from them to become successful. I wish you all the best on your journey of entrepreneurship, probably your professional life or personal life. With that note, I conclude the meeting and adjourn the meeting and stop the recording and let you stay back for networking.